Well, let's focus on RHI Magnesita. I spoke with the global head, Mr. Stephen Borges, as well as India business head, Mr. Parmod Sagar. I started by asking them about their capex plans in the backdrop of Vesuvius going ahead and upping their capex to around 1,000 crores here in India. Let's listen in to what they had to tell me.
We are way ahead of the game, of course, because we've already spent a huge amount of money. If we take everything together that we're going to spend on the region here, it's around 450 million US dollars worth. I think, according to my calculation, this is about 4,500 crore. So this is the total package in the short term, but including what we have already spent. So we're way ahead here. We have now bought all the capacities that we need for the next years. We have still the need to build some capabilities now. So there's a lot of technology investments that we will do. We have a collaboration with a Japanese refractory company to build technologies and to bring this to India here. This is happening very soon. We're building up our iron making capabilities here, where we were not present until very recently. We are very much focusing on circular economy capabilities. So here, this takes a lot of infrastructure investments as well in order to bring this circular economy addition here. And we're, of course, leveraging the Indian IT capabilities, the IT capabilities of the country for two reasons. We're building programming capabilities, software capabilities, and we're bringing all the global services from all of our other regions to India in the next 3 years.
Okay, all right. So quite interesting. So $450 million is the ballpark number that you've laid out in terms of capex that you've spent and what you're going to spend going ahead as well. So we got that point.
This is the money that we're going to spend.
Got it. And from here on, out of that 450 million, how much has already been spent and how much will be spent?
Yeah, about 80% is already spent.
80% is already spent. All right. So that's why you're saying that you're well ahead of the curve. Give us a few more details then. In India, the steel consumption is expected to grow in double digit, very, very roughly. Could you tell us what kind of growth do you see for your industry here in India? And if I go via revenue matrix, you'll have close to around 33% of the market share. Where do you see this number headed?
Well, the market share focus is not really the number one focus, but with the addition of the technologies that we will add in market segments in which we're not now in steel and also outside of steel. Okay. Not to be forgotten, refineries, cement, glass production, copper production, all this is growing in the region. Our market share just by default will grow to a little short of 40% in the next years. In India, on the steel side, we have to differentiate between steel production and steel consumption. We have a large percentage of imports into India still, especially from China. This will continue unless there are some drastic measures. Therefore, the steel production in India is around 6-7%. The production growth 6-8%, and this will be the growth of our business as well.
Got it. What about the export strategy? You'll have made this point that you're looking to get into markets like East Asia as well as Africa. I think currently the total exports are roughly around 11 to 12% of the total mix, and you'll want to take it to around 20%. What kind of progress are you making on that front?
Yeah, this is a very interesting question because we have to look at this from two perspectives. There's the outside-in perspective. 3 years ago, RHI Magnesita was importing 80% of its materials. Now we are already producing 60% in the country, so from 20 to 60, and this will go to 80%. Self-sufficiency inside India for India. On the export side, we have a very small export percentage of maybe 6-7%. 3 years ago. This is now at around 12%. This will go to 20% in 2025 and then to 30% in maybe 27, 28. So India will become a manufacturing hub, but not just for the region, but for the entire world.
Okay, got it. Quick counterpoint before we get to Mr. Parmod. As of now, the total royalty that is paid, I think, of the listed entities is around 2%. Your peer is Vesuvius. They pay close to around 3%. Do you see there's a possibility that there is a tweak in the royalty rates as well?
Well, it depends very much on where the technology comes from and how this develops. We don't have a royalty planning scheme. It's just a default from what will happen with the technology that we bring here. So it could very well increase slightly.
Okay, and we could hear that decision in the coming fiscal, that's FY25?
No, it's not a decision. This is a default of, it happens product by product, technology by technology. There could actually be some royalty income also if we develop technologies in India here later on.
Oh, interesting. So we'll see how that goes. Final question to you, Stephen. We have a big investor in there by virtue of the inorganic growth. The Dalmia Group has close to around 13% stake in the company. And reports indicate that maybe they could be looking at selling that. If that is true, would the parent be interested in picking up that stake? You'll have already pumped in some money, but that's the big overhang on the stock from an India market perspective. Your take?
Yes, they have always made it very clearly that this is not a very long-term investment. They are, of course, very intelligent and savvy investors, so they will do this in an intelligent way. So from an investor perspective, I think nobody should worry here. This will be block trade, so it won't be a real overhang for the stock. If the price is right, of course, as a group, we will always consider. But at the end of the day, of course, you need to ask our shareholder themselves of what they want to do.
Interesting. All right, Mr. Parmod, let's come across to you then. The utilization levels of both the acquired assets haven't really lived up to expectations. Give us a number. In the coming year, how do you see both these two acquisitions shape up? What is the rough utilization levels we could look at for FY25?
As of now, I think we are at about 60% level, and I believe in next 3 years we should reach to 75 to 80% utilization level.
For Hi-Tech as well as for Dalmia?
Yes, both.
All right. There was some refurbishment that you were taking on, particularly at Dalmia. What is the total money you have earmarked for that? And how is the progress out there? By when can we see the fruits of this particular investment?
First of all, this year we were trying to see how much is the low-hanging fruit without investing too much money. If we can leverage, we can improve our productivity, improve working conditions, and then invest money. We already started investing money, and I think in the next 3 years we will be spending something like 250 crores to 300 crores.
Okay, got it. Also, because of the consolidation in the refractory industry, I think you all have mentioned on your con call as well that it resulted in losing some kind of share from a client like, say, SAIL. What are you all doing to get this market share back?
Actually, earlier it was 3 companies, and Steel Authority of India is having tender-based system. So 3 companies was bidding for one particular tender. So now it is 1 company. So it was anticipated. We were aware that we are going to lose 2-3% of this business. But at the same time, we start working on how to mitigate that. What are the products which we are not selling to Steel Authority of India? We start trying those products in Steel Authority of India, and the results are very encouraging. And I believe we will be overtaking. If we are losing 3% business, maybe we will compensate that 3% and increase rather 1 or 2% more.
Okay.
That is not a concern.
Okay, final question before we let you all gentlemen go. Stephen as well as Mr. Parmod, any more inorganic plans for the listed entity? You'll have done a fair bit on ground. Is there more inorganic plans? Do you all have the appetite?
Yes, we have the appetite. There are always inorganic plans.
So we could see more inorganic from the RHI listed entity here in India in the coming fiscal? Are you all on the prowl?
Whether in the coming fiscal, I can't promise, but for sure it's possible that this will happen.